think of myself as when you're no more, what will people be saying about you? And that is how I live my life.
Yeah.
Just live it good. Be a blessing to somebody.
Yeah.
Let them be able to say, oh, she was a good person, rather than she was a very nasty person.
And
so
this
I
person
tried
helped
to
me.
Yeah.
Helped me change my life. On our podcast, and if you wouldn't mind telling those at home who don't know and are watching a bit about what you do and who you work for.
Alright, so my name is Sheila Ako. I work for Skilled Hands Organisation CIC. I work as one of the directors here. What we do here is we empower women through artisan craft workshops for women to be able to start a small business of their own with the skills we give them. And also we wanted to create a platform where women can meet, make new friends, and unwind from the pressures of life, because women go through a lot. So basically that is what Skilled Hands is about, and that is what we've been channeling since we started in 2018.
So it's been going on for 5 years.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind starting this charity, like targeted at women? Was there inspiration? And also, like, how comes it was designed to like be an artisan craft type of thing?
Okay, so this dates far back in 2005, 2006.
Okay.
Way back. This is what I know how to do.
Okay.
Since I came out of a uni, this is what I know how to do. I have an art background. I have a BA in textiles.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
And when I finished my degree, I remember the school wanted to retain me as a teaching assistant. And I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to teach. So I did my service as a teaching assistant. Then they wanted to retain me as a junior lecturer. And I said I didn't want it because I wanted to go into business.
Yeah.
So I left. I declined that offer, went out, and wanted to start something on my own. I've always been that person wanting to work for myself and not for anybody. And I'm talking, this time around I'm talking about Ghana. And it was so difficult finding a job. And the only downside for me was being a first class student.
Okay.
And they wouldn't take me on because all I kept hearing was, when we employ first class students, they don't last. We put in all the resources and then they want to go and further their education, do their masters. So the organization don't get more from them. So they wouldn't take me on. And it was very, very frustrating. But I think in my frustration, I did work at Barclays for maybe 2 months.
Okay.
I didn't like the job because it was a marketing job and I felt I wasn't cut out for that. So I did it for 2 months, left, and my mom was insisting on going the normal route as a mom, like get a job, get paid, because they felt they've put a lot into education and you should be reaping something by now. So starting on your own was very difficult, obviously.
Of course.
Being an entrepreneur, you'll not be making money for a long time. So
it's a lot of work before you start seeing results.
Exactly. So I'd also gone ahead to go and work for an advertising agency for maybe 5 months. I think that was the longest I worked for anybody. Then I said, no, this is not for me. So I came out, started doing things on my own with my textile background. I did a few billboards in town. I wanted to push the African print, so I had a magazine for myself.
Wow.
And luckily enough, the media houses in Ghana pushed me for an interview in UK. So I came to UK for an interview. At that time was Ben TV. So I came to have an interview about the magazine to push African prints and how it can be used for other things. So initially, like our African prints will be used in very cumbersome styles, if I should say, very big. It was just appealing to mothers and not to youngsters. So you'll not see it being used like what I'm wearing today. So I would like to think that I was the first person to come out with that concept, putting an African print into different things. But then others stand to argue the fact that I'm not the first, so I don't want to give that anymore. So, but I'd come out with a magazine showing styles so that it could be used for various things like shorts, summer shorts, crop tops, stuff like that. Then I felt it wasn't enough. Obviously, that is me. It's never enough. So I wanted to go further, and I thought I could pass on skill because that is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Passing on skill, teaching people is what I'm good at. So I came into contact with a lady at that time who I would say was not well-to-do, but was a single mom and was struggling. And she used to do my laundry back then in Ghana. So when she did it, I would take pictures of her, put it in my magazine, try and do a makeup of her, and trying to groom her to become a better woman. Then I felt I could impart skill. So we started from there, and then somebody offered us a land, a priest, an Anglican priest offered us a land because he liked what we were doing. So we were impacting skills like that to single moms. And I wasn't married then, but I got to see the struggles of moms.
Of course, yeah.
And I was so drawn to that thing, and I felt that was my calling because I operated easily in that area, if I would say. And between 2006 to 2013, when I relocated, I had trained over 400 women in Ghana.
Whoa.
And I'm talking about illiterates and literates.
Wow.
Because Ghana churns out a lot of graduates who come out and aren't working. But in all of those, I felt that the women, because I was drawn to women, I heard a lot of stories about women, and I felt I could do something about that.
And help them and
help
improve their lives.
Yeah. So most of these graduates, I would reskill them and say start a business with them, and it was helping. Now I relocated to Nottingham when I got married to my husband. I had my son, and I joined a mother and babies group. And I saw the women coming, and obviously women problems are common all over the world. So I spoke to a few health workers. Oh, this is what I have in mind. And do they think it will work here in Nottingham? I said, oh yeah, it will. And sometimes these women need places to go, make new friends, because Nottingham is a diversified community with a lot of immigrants and stuff like that. And when they come in, it's difficult to mix up into the community. You need to be joining a group to make new friends, to access support. And this was one good platform where women could do that. So they said, okay, put a proposal together. I put a proposal together, sent it to Nottingham City Council, and my proposal got missing in transition. So for a year, but within that time I was still having children, so I wasn't following up too much on my proposal. Then I sent a postal one as well, like a hard copy proposal, and that got missing as well. So I think in 2007, when I was sure I've had enough of having children, and I just have two though.
Yeah.
So I said, let me push it more. So I called Nottingham City Council wanting to follow up on the proposal, and they said they didn't receive anything, and that the concept was good, so we should put it together, and they signposted us to a few people who could help us bring it out. And in 2018 we brought it out. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing story behind like the whole reason why you do this. That's incredible. 400 women in Ghana.
And I think in Nottingham we've done over 200 women. I'm not too sure, but I thought the last time I checked we were around 215 since we started. Yeah.
That's just amazing. That makes such a difference to so many people's lives. It must be so rewarding. Like
it is. It's rewarding and fulfilling because most of the women will tell you how the program has changed their lives. And it's, for me, I think it's always a big thing when you can impact somebody's life. I think of myself as when you're no more, what will people be saying about you? And that is how I live my life.
Yeah.
Just live it good. Be a blessing to somebody.
Yeah.
Let them be able to say, oh, she was a good person, rather than she was a very nasty person.
And
so
this
I
person
tried to
helped me, helped me change my life almost.
Yeah.
And like, so how like do you guys raise the funds for the charity? Like, was it like events or?
So we've never really done any fundraising through events, but we want to do that. But all our funding has come from organizations, funding bodies since we started. But going forward, we'd like to venture into events and the sale of the products that women make to raise money for the organization. Yeah.
And what are some challenges that you've faced running a charity?
It's difficult. Anybody will tell you that running a charity is difficult. The paperwork alone is, my God. And sometimes when I have interviews with the funders and I'm talking about it, I tell them running the craft sessions is the easiest and fun bit about it. But the paperwork, because as a charity you have to keep records of everything you do. Just because you're using money from the community or funding bodies, and you have to be able to report back to them on every bit of thing you can. So paperwork is a lot. Aside that, sometimes you can have a few challenges from some of the beneficiaries that come in. But I think on the whole, it's not been anything we've not been able to handle. So yeah, but it's not an easy thing to do, but it's really fulfilling and rewarding in the end when you hear some of the positive feedbacks that come back.
Yeah, so is there like, do you have any like examples that stand out of positive feedback? Because my next question was going to be like, what have been some of the like standout successes of your charity, or like your favourite?
Well, I think I can confidently talk about 3 of them.
Okay, go on.
So the first one is, we had a lady back then, I think this was she joined the group in 2019, then there was COVID, then we went virtual, and she was still with the group. Now when she joined the group, she used to be a tattoo artist, and I think I've said this a number of times on most of the interviews I've gone to on behalf of Skilled Hands, and so I hope I don't sound like a broken record, but it's one of our successes and is a massive one, so I like to talk with her.
Of course.
She was a tattoo artist, so she had problems with her limbs, so she couldn't even pick a bead when she came. But after a while, she would confess and say, Sheila, I couldn't do this, I couldn't even hold a needle, I couldn't. But after a year or more with us, she could do all of that. She ended up volunteering for the organization, teaching people how to bead, to do jewelry making.
Wow. She
She herself, if I'm right, I can't get the figures right now, but she said she could do 13 beads and bracelets in an hour or 2, I can't remember, but in a very short
much improvement.
so much improvement. So that is one case. Then we have 2 other ones, ladies who are coming with anxiety.
Okay.
And when they came into the group, they wouldn't talk. Even the lady who had problems with her motors wouldn't talk. I remember when we started the virtual, she said, Sheila, I want to keep my camera off because I'm not too confident on coming on screen. But then she ended up coming and in the end teaching as well. So we've had people coming with anxiety and ended up co-MCing. So we have to dress up. And she said, no, I don't want to dress up. I don't want to. I just want to be myself. You know, sometimes life puts us in situations where we let ourselves go. But Skilled Hands have made people realize they have to put up, you know.
Yeah.
And I always make sure I look good.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yeah.
People come in and they ask, well, where are you going all dressed up? But it's to rub off on people.
Yeah.
Because when you have children and you don't do anything at home, you're always at home, seeing the 4 walls of your house, and you don't have any opportunity to dress up and look good and go step out.
Yeah.
It just becomes part of your life.
Yeah, and when you look good, you feel good.
You feel good.
Yeah.
So I have women who come in and on site, the first time we see that, no, this is not good at all. But with time, then she picks up, because everybody tries to look good, smell good, and all that. So so all these things rub off on them, and we see the improvement. And one obvious one is when we had the red carpet recently in June. Most of the families came up and said, thank you very much for what you've done for our wives, our mothers, our sisters. We see the improvement, because before they joined Skilled Hands, we saw anxiety, we see depression was there, other things you could easily tell, but now it's no more.
Amazing.
So those are some of the good stories we hear.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's so great to hear as well. How does Skilled Hands like reach out to like potential donors and fundraising people? Like, how do they come about?
Well, the good thing is there is an organization that will always send you an email for new funders or new grant bodies that has come up. So particularly, we always look out for those emails, and we have a list of all these funding bodies. So from time to time, these funding bodies tend to change their way of funding. So for this time around, they may say we are funding all women organizations who support women in this, that area. Next time, it wouldn't be so. So you just have to keep a record of all of those. And then you go through, in that particular year, if their funding method suits you, then you go for it. So that is how we actually, but by word of mouth, because a few other people know what we do, don't just quickly send us an email or say, try this one and see if you'll be able to access funding. But on the whole, Nottingham City Council has been of great help. I would always say the development officers, the councillors, in the wards in which we operate, as in ward areas 2, areas 4, areas 5. They've always been there. And I remember last year, just out of the blue, we had a call, and it was from one of the development officers, and she said, oh, Nottingham City Council has seen the work you're doing and they want to give Skilled Hands £1,000. And this, you shouldn't be reporting on that, it's just for you to use for the organization. And I felt it was a huge thing, because Nottingham City Council has realized what we do, and for them to be giving us a gift as a support to what we do was a massive thing for us. So some of these things keep us going, really.
Of course. And it's like, keep going, like you're doing well. Yeah, of course. And how do you guys how are you able to engage with like volunteers to help with the charity?
In the past, what we've done was to give our women the opportunity to volunteer as in a way to build confidence and to help them easily move back into the working environment, because remember, most of them are stay-home moms. So after they've been away from the working environment, it's difficult to go back into it. So we allow them to volunteer just to put them back into that phase. But quite recently, we've been working with Nottingham Trent University for volunteers. But we are still open to anyone else who think they have something to offer Skilled Hands. We'll be very glad to have you come on board.
And what have been some of the biggest lessons you've learned from running a charity?
Perseverance.
Yes.
And you have to be particular, if I'm using the right word, about the things you do. You have to be intentional, I should say, about the things you do, else you don't go anywhere. And it takes a lot of work, so you should know that, you have to dedicate, prioritize, and above all, be very nice, because you'll definitely be hearing some nasty things, but you just have to be very nice and patient as well. So those are the things I've learned.
And my next question was going to be like, what advice would you give to someone who's considering starting a charity, but kind of what you just said, like be persevering and be kind.
Go for it. It shouldn't just be a charity. Whatever you want to do, for me, I'll say go for it. Because in the end, when I look back at my life, I'm happy at the woman I've become. And when I started off after uni in 2005, I wasn't like this. So there's been a huge progress. And most of them had come from trying to start something on my own, especially impacting other women's life. And the feel of doing something positive for myself and for the women in my community. And all the time, my daughter looks at me and says, I want to be like you. And I think it's a positive thing for her to have something positive.
That's like every mom's dream to hear their daughter be looking up to them.
And I remember that I always do her hair, and I'm that type of person, I'm very handy. I only need to see it and then I do it. So I always do her hair so she knows I can do her hair. But the first time I made a dress for her for the red carpet, she asked me, so if you can, so why do you buy clothes for me? Do them for me. I told her there's no time.
I don't have the time. Too much work
to do that, so
I love that so much. And how does technology help with Skilled Hands Organisation?
It has, because now we are in a global village. Am I saying it right? But, everybody's on the phone, on the computer, everybody's in technology. And I think the best way to reach out with your message is via technology. And obviously in 2020, during the COVID period, we had moved all our sessions virtual.
Of course,
And we needed to look for a way to still be there for women, because those times were difficult for everybody.
Of course.
And we just assumed it would be more difficult for our women. So we still had to find a way of bringing women together, and those were the best days, even for me. I always looked forward to those sessions. So if we didn't have that, I don't know how we would have navigated through those difficult times.
Wow.
Yes, the technology has helped a lot.
And that was going to be my next question, like how did COVID impact Skilled Hands?
Well, I say that impacted. Okay, a little bit, because when I asked our women how they would rate our physical class to the virtual class, they all said they would choose the physical over the virtual anytime if they had the choice. But obviously COVID wouldn't give us that opportunity, so we all enjoyed our virtual class. It did work out well, only that a few other women who heard that were giving out materials, quote and unquote, for free just took advantage of that, and I think that is so bad for anybody to be taking advantage of the things that are meant for everyone else to benefit, and then just take it away and not be part of the group, but just come and rip us off. I'm not pleased about it. That's why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it. So if anybody happens to see this with the intention of coming in to rape us off, I think you should be ashamed of yourself for that, because other women need to benefit from this. Now, this started in 2018, and let's keep it in mind, if those who came in 2018 were ripping us off our materials, our tools, we're not taking the craft workshop seriously, we wouldn't be here today for somebody who is hearing of us the first time and really need this service to be part of it. So
I completely agree. And what have been some of the most creative ways like Skilled Hands gets promoted? So social media or like posters, and what kind of way?
We are on social media. We are on all the social media platforms you can think of. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, everywhere else you can think of. We are there because we want to be able to reach out to everyone else. So we are all over the place, and we have a website as well.
And do you think social media helps with?
A lot. A lot, because we started off on Facebook. We didn't have a website then, but we're able to reach people with our messages through Facebook. So social media has really, really helped.
And like, how has like the podcast like helped with the charity?
Well, that's a good thing, and I love podcasts. So the main idea of beginning a podcast is to be able to reach people, a wider group of people in the community, with our messages and with the good stories we'll be sharing from here as well. So the podcast has really helped us reach out some more, and we want to be able to do more with the podcast. So it's a good thing we've added to the Skilled Hands thing.
And it gives a chance, like, and a voice to people that are doing other amazing things, like whether it's for themselves or whether it's for a group of people, like, or for women, like coming together, and it just spreads the word everywhere, doesn't it? And what have been some of the most like successful partnerships that you've formed with other organisations, and how?
I think we formed a lot. Well, our first partnership was with Awas, and they would signpost people from there to us. We've also formed partnership with Nottingham Women's Centre and a few other women organisations we have. I can't remember all of them from the top of my head, but I think that if charity becomes successful when you network, and that was one major thing when we joined the International Women's Day celebration at the Council House. The main objective was to network, and I went for it as far as time will allow me to do. But and it's really, really helped. Networking is ultimately the best.
Of course.
Recently I met the lady who organized the International Women's Day. She was asking me the same question, and I said it was a perfect event that was put together. The venue was good, the people were good. People wanted to network because that was the main goal for the for the setup of that event, and I think it was a great thing. I wouldn't have met her if I had not gone to International Women's, and I wouldn't have met other people as well if we've not been there. So networking is the best, and I think as a body or as an organization, we've been able to do our best in that regard.
And does Skilled Hands like help women from like almost in an economic way as well? Because when some women like start creating their own items and selling them, like, has that happened before? Yeah,
a few people did sell things that will talk to me about it. Oh, I did this and I was able to sell it. I did this and I took it to church. And the women in my group, the women's group, asked me, where you got your bag from, your purse from, is so nice. And then she said, I did it. I said, you didn't do it, that's a lie. I said, that's my son. So that you get orders from there. But we've seen that some of these women don't have the startup capital. And that is another thing we are looking at doing, if only we'll be able to do it.
Which was, what do you kind of hope for the future with Skilled Hands? Because obviously right now it's just Nottingham currently. So like, do you hope to like expand, or like you're focusing on Nottingham? Like, what are the goals?
We'll be happy to expand, but then we want to be firmly rooted in Nottingham. Because till date, people call me and they say, oh, we didn't know there was something like this. And sometimes they say, this is too good to be true. You give us all these things for free and you give us the training for free. And then I said, yes, if you meet the criteria, then you get to access it for free. So we want to be deeply rooted because we've not made the kind of impact we want to make in the lives of women here yet. we are making it as gradual, but we want to be firmly rooted before we spread out to other communities. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like, would you say one of the like key goals of Skilled Hands is like to create like a more sustainable future for these women, like something that will continue for them, like bettering their mental health, like bettering their skills, like it's like long lasting?
Yeah, that's what we want to do. That is the main goal, actually, setting it up, because if you want somebody to get better, then it has to be something that is going to stick with them, not get better today and tomorrow they are back where they used to be, then we've not helped them. So the goal is to keep it running, like for them as much as possible. But all of these depends on funding, because we can only do as much until we get the support we need to keep it going, keep the support we give them running as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things to make this happen, but we are committed to making it happen. Yeah.
And if there was someone perhaps watching that was able to like help with the funding, who would they contact? Or would they go on the website? Like, what would they do?
Yeah, so we have a channel on our website where you can reach us. I think there's a donate button there, and you can fill a form, make inquiries how to go about it. But basically you can just call me or send an email to the organization. Somebody will pick up and speak to you. So our email is skills.hands.org@gmail.com, and the number is 07432440997. Just contact us and then we'll put you through the right channel. But I also want to say that we have a shop on our website. The good thing about any artist is to produce something and people buy it and use it. And all the products you'll be seeing online are products done by women from Skilled Hands, and it will be a great thing for them to know that they did something, somebody bought it and the person is using it. So please visit our online shop and make a purchase from there. All the things you buy, 100% of it goes back into the organization to support the work we do.
And what kind of products are on the website?
So currently we have beaded accessories, bracelets, necklaces. We're still uploading more because we have tons of products. Then we also have millinery hatinators and fascinators. Then we're putting more, so you can find bags, purse, and we're hoping to have craft kits.
Sheila, for joining us today and talking to us. I feel like I've learned so much that I didn't know about Skilled Hands, and it's just amazing what you're doing, and your work doesn't go unnoticed, and it's very much appreciated, I'm sure, on behalf of all the women that you've helped and that you're going to continue to help, and it's just amazing what you do. So
it's a total delight.
Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Yeah, it was a total delight having an opportunity to share the things we do here.
Thank you so much.